This is NTD Evening News, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
This month, Elon Musk announced the formation of the America Party. The declaration marked the launch of his own political movement, but will the America Party be a lasting political movement, or will history repeat itself, resulting in Musk's latest venture fading like other high-profile third-party efforts? Joining me to discuss are two political strategists, Matt Klink, a Republican strategist and political analyst, and Madeline Somerville, an attorney, political speechwriter, and strategist. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to start with Madeline. Elon Musk's creation of the America Party stemmed from his opposition to the Big Beautiful Bill. So what was it that he didn't like about the bill, and what is he hoping to accomplish with this new party?
I think that what he was taking issue with primarily actually hasn't really been addressed very directly by the media. So in my opinion, based upon his more recent interaction with politics, I think it's because he has a vested interest in AI. I think it's because he has a vested interest in making sure that it's regulated. And in the White House, we've got J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel, and they do not. They want to lift regulations on AI. I think that that is a debate that's going on behind the scenes that needs to be paid attention to and is worth to him creating a new political party for. He's been talking about needing to regulate AI for 10 years. What we've heard is that he doesn't like the debt and the deficit. And of course, that is of major concern. And it would be frustrating to somebody who says, hey, I thought we were against this. And as a Democrat, it seems shocking to me too. But I do think that there's more to this behind the scenes.
Well, Matt, do you agree? Do you think there's more to this behind the scenes, or is this about the AI debate?
Well, I think that Madeline is spot on that, but I think it's Elon Musk. I think he is let's just say he is a complex individual who can change his views very quickly. But look, I think you hit upon it earlier that saying you're going to create a new party and actually doing so and making a difference, those are two, there's a chasm in between saying it and actually doing it. And look, I mean, there are structural reasons, legal reasons, political reasons, and cultural reasons, all of which are obstacles that Mr. Musk is going to have to surmount in a very short amount of time if they want to make a difference.
Well, let's talk about how these parties have fared historically, Madeline. So historically, third parties have not been successful in terms of winning the most votes, but they have been able to influence American policy. So, for example, Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal incorporated core ideas from a progressive platform. So how realistic is it that Musk can shake up the current political landscape?
I think that if a third party presidential candidate could ever have a real chance of making it into office, it's now. I think that our most recent interaction with this was back in 1992 with Ross Perot. And back then, you had to convince people that a third party was worth giving a look to. It was worth listening to what they had to say. I don't think you have to convince people of that anymore. I think they're very frustrated with the parties that they're in. I think we see with Mamdani that some people are willing to take a risk because they're not happy with what they have. So as a strategist, I'm telling people, I think if you have any penchant for wanting to run as an independent, now's the time to do it because people want to show that they're brave enough to do it.
Well, Matt, is this the right time, and could Musk actually pull this off?
Well, look, the presidential election is not until 28, and Ross Perot, he was in, he was out, and he got back in. What he ultimately did was likely toss the election to a young upstart governor in ill-fitting suits from Arkansas named Bill Clinton, who turned out to be a pretty middle-of-the-road Democrat, I have to admit, in hindsight. But look, the biggest challenge that Elon Musk faces. What would the American Party stand for? No one knows. I look back at, everybody was talking with illusions in their eyes about how no labels we're going to cut through the partisan politics and find the middle. And it faded quickly and fast. So again, easier said than done. It sounds really good, and I agree with what Madeline says. There's a lot of disfaction in politics, especially from the massive middle, who's like, I don't buy into the extreme on any of this stuff. The problem is that the middle doesn't agree on one set of issues.
Well, to your point that, what is this party about? Musk's agenda for the new party, he says, is aimed at challenging what he called a one-party system, which means combining the two dominant parties together. So Musk is saying it will give us back our freedom. So what's the demand for another party, in particular one with Elon Musk's vision? Madeline?
I think that you hit on the most important issue here, because although people want to be able to demonstrate, like they did with Mamdani's election, I'm not afraid to vote for someone who calls him a socialist, I'm not afraid to vote for a third party candidate, you still have to have some substance behind that. And I think here with what do you stand for, right? What's the America Party about? I think it's kind of ironic that he's saying there's a uniparty system right now because they're run by oligarchs. And what are you doing, Elon Musk, and what was your role in the election, right? So it seems disingenuous. And so although I think people do want to engage in a different kind of system, and I do think we have a uniparty because the political parties are most certainly controlled by corporate interests behind the scenes, I don't know if the one to beat the system is the one who arguably did the most to put it into place.
Well, Matt, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think we have a uniparty here and that we need this third party to even things up?
Well, there are profound differences between the Republicans and the Democratic Party right now. I agree that some of the decisions in Washington that they do protect the status quo, but both parties, and I'll avoid getting into the specifics because it's been a fairly cordial conversation. But both parties, look, both parties have a different perspective on the role of government, on how tax dollars are spent, on our view about the world. Suffice it to say that America has a rich tradition of a two-party system, and that injecting a third party into it. I mean, you can go back to the Woodrow Wilson election in 1912, and you had a Republican, a Democrat, and a progressive with Teddy Roosevelt running. And actually, you also had a socialist running at the same time. You had four running, but those elections are few and far between. And I think that, again, the system is really set up for a Republican and a Democratic Party. And there are profound differences. As much as we like to say the uniparty controls DC, ask the Democrats if DC is being run differently right now under Republican leadership.
Well, let's look at the poll that Elon Musk took before he started this party. So he took the poll declaring his new party, and he asked whether people wanted independence from the two-party system. Now, the poll received over 1.2 million responses, with over 65% voting in favor. So how critical are Musk's personal brand and financial resources to any hope of success with this party? Madeline.
I actually took that poll. I was one of the 65% because I follow him on Twitter, and I'm a citizen. I play along. And so I think that he is first and foremost a businessman. And I think that the people who follow him are often concerned with his business interests as well. And so I think that his business interests play a significant role here. I mean, every move he makes, his Tesla stock changes. And I think people are done with that. I think people want somebody who speaks for all of them. It's smart to label it the America Party, because I do think that people have a desire to come together, but coming together over Elon Musk himself, right? Because that seems to be the only distinguishing factor from, if you want to differentiate yourself from the Republican Party, I don't think is going to get the job done. Although I think we're ready for it, I don't think he's the one to do it.
Oh, how about you, Matt? Do you think Elon Musk has what it takes?
Look, Elon Musk needs to be the CEO and the chief idea officer for the companies, the publicly traded companies that he is involved with. Running a political party, just as he got frustrated with the pace of Doge in Washington, D.C., getting into the nitty gritty of creating and running a political party, I think that he would be pulling what little hair he has out at the roots. It would be frustrating. And again, ultimately, if it's a party that backs what Elon Musk thinks, he changes direction all the time. And I mean, good luck creating consensus. And look, even the misnomer of 65% of quote unquote independents, or 65 independents sway right or left. They like to say that they're independent, but they vote Republican or Democrat. In part because there is no viable third party candidate. And again, the candidate won't be Elon Musk. So as soon as that person, Mr. or Mrs. X, becomes that third party candidate, good luck. They will learn more about themselves than they probably never even imagined.
So let's talk about strategies that the dominant parties have used in the past. So in the past, they try to incorporate the popular ideas into their own platform. So can you see either party adopting Musk ideas, and could that result in a win for Musk? Madeline.
If I were to advise Elon Musk, I would have him directly target exactly what the senators pointed out were their primary issues with the big, beautiful bill, and literally just transfer it over. Because those senators are voicing concerns that so much of America is voicing. And part of the power that language has, right, and that those senators have because of the platform that they do, is they're putting words to people's frustration. And when you do that, you gain a connection with them. They feel close to you and they feel like they can trust you. So if I were Elon Musk, I would take all those issues that are true, real issues that the Republicans decided to walk away from, and frame it as, you don't have to be loyal to me, right? You have to tell the truth, and somebody has to hold these people accountable. So I think it actually is a really easy platform, because there's just, people already articulated what they didn't want, and they voted for it anyways. It's an easy target.
Well, what do you think, Matt? Could this be a chance for Elon Musk to help the Democrats?
I think Madeline is very clever here. I think that if the goal of the American Party is to be the anti-Republican Party, then they should follow Madeline's advice, and she's very convincing. I will tell you though, look, Elon Musk, he may not like what's in the big beautiful bill, but he certainly doesn't like what happened in Washington, D.C. before the Republicans held power and the Democrats
Sure.
had the reins. So I think the challenge here is, what's the needle to be threaded, and what are the issues that that broad swath of voters in the middle say, am I willing to pay higher taxes for a government that doesn't work? Should public benefits go to people who are in this country illegally? Does government spend too much? Okay, that's easy, of course. But then the challenge becomes of, okay, well, as soon as you start to cut anything, every program in Washington, D.C. has a constituency. So again, that the devil's in the details here. And ultimately, look, issues don't win political campaigns. Emotion wins political campaigns, and a connection with people wins political campaigns. So if we say that the third party is viable and Elon Musk will not be the candidate, then who is that candidate? It's going to have to be someone who's really, really dynamic. And I don't know who she or he is at this point, but the second that that person is selected, you automatically start to divide people up. So look, it sounds really cool, and Americans are like, yeah, that's what we need. But okay, let's start breaking down the details, and it's a heck of a lot more complex than people want to make it out to be.
You know, and there's also the issue of whether or not he's registered yet with the Federal Election Commission. So we'll have to see how far he's really willing to go. Matt Klink, a Republican
Or ballot
strategist,
access.
and Madeline Somerville.
Don't forget ballot access too.
Right. Both of you, a political speechwriter and strategist. Madeline, thank you both so much for joining us.